Hey up there guys, how we doing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back, very shortly back, because I've only literally just turned action camera back on from just coming out, just pulling out and bluebelling pub at East Drayton. So basically, so let me pull over and let this bloody car go. Yeah, I don't want you behind me. Yeah, so basically then, part 3 or point 3 of really why I don't really like electric motorcycles and even EVs that much, for that matter, in general, but more to the point, electric motorcycles. So this is the breakthrough that I can see to do with this point, right? We know that they're totally silent. They haven't got nice distinctive rare nice pitches and tone sounds that a petrol motorcycle has. Yes, so we know they're silent, right? We know they're basically automatic, they don't work for you. I've not gone on to that yet, but that's gonna basically be a, next point and part. So point and part 4. But anyway, going back on track. So we know that they're silent. They don't work for you. Now, to some people, me, that's a bad thing. I like to actually do some work and earn it, and I like to feel bike. Anyway, that's for another video. But so anyway, you've got all these things, right, where things would be a turn off, a complete big massive turn off. And even the range anxiety that you get and stuff to do with, when my neck's going to be able to charge it, and I'm running out very quick and fastly, What about if I just clunk at here and break down, whatever? And what it is now, take all these points, right? And one person might come along and actually say, yeah, but do you know what though, Nick, right? I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah? Granted, yeah, after everything you've said, I do honestly see all them as a negative, right? I see all them as a negative and a turn off. So if I were to ask them, alright, so why have you got one then, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, I'm not being sarcastic or trying to challenge you. I'm not trying to challenge you or be sarcastic or be funny. It's a straight, up front, humble, down to earth, honest question. So why have you got one then, if you think all them points are a bad point? If they were to say back to me one thing, if all they needed to say were, because of power. Because of power coming from throttle, when you twitch throttle on an electric motorcycle compared to a petrol one, they're just much more faster, Nick, right? They're much more faster. They're just really a lot more faster. Both A, on throttle response, to do with acceleration, to do with them shooting you off front spot, and also to do with just in general when you pick up, when you get going, they're just a lot more faster in general. They're just a lot more powerful. than petrol motorcycles. Now, I'll just stop you before I go any further. Straight away, I want to let you all know that I'd agree with that person, or I'd agree with you if you were to say that and say, yeah, you know, they are a lot more faster, because they are, right? 100% hands down, electric motorcycles are proven and known, they're known and proven, they are loads way more faster than petrol motorcycles, right? The rapid throttle response is insane. So to a point where they'd be saying to me they are so wowed and so excited straight away at the throttle response. So as soon as you touch throttle on an electric motorbike, yeah, right, you're going to be so excited, you're going to be like, fuck, whoa, 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 fucking, fuck, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're going to get adrenaline way more better and faster and quicker than what you do a petrol motorcycle. You're going to be so super duper excited to a point where then you probably might be thinking, that is the only one trade-off that I need to basically accept as a trade-off to do with these electric motorcycles, right? Taking into account that they're nowhere near as, you know, they're nowhere near as like upgradable as what you can do to petrol motorcycles, but I don't care, Nick, right? I don't care, because they're so much faster from throttle and all this lot, right? Then I don't care about anything else. So I'd take a step back and I'd say, yeah, okay, that's absolutely fair enough, right? That is super duper fair enough. So in other words, you're saying to me then, aren't you, that the throttle response from these fully electric motorcycles, right, are that exciting and they pump your foot that much of adrenaline that you don't even care about them being automatic, which you would not want a motorcycle to be. That's a turn off. Also, no sound coming from them, because silence is boring, which you wouldn't want them to be. But as long as you've got that much more adrenaline pump fueled rapid faster throttle, then you're not bothered about anything else. So you know, so then yes, Nick, that is what I'm saying. So in other words, the throttle response and the power and the speed from an electric motorcycle completely, so excitingly so, outweighs and outpowers and outdoes any other negativity and bad points and doom and gloom, horrible negative points on an electric motorcycle. I don't care about any other horrible negative point, because I wouldn't change that super duper rapid throttle and speed and power for anything any day. I wouldn't change that for no love amount of money from anything to do with you know, a petrol motorcycle. Okay, that's fair enough. There's only one thing, and this is the sort of like breakthrough, if you like, that I can sort of like detect and see wrong in that, if anyone were to actually say that to me, and you know, by having that mind frame, that, you know, mindset, mentality, whatever, I'd say, okay, yeah, fair enough. This is the thing, guys, are you ready? Until you get used to it, right? So as soon as you touch throttle on an electric motorcycle, right, I agree, even I will be pumped so full of adrenaline, I would be so wowed and impressed and everything, right? But I'd have enough sense to know, I'd have enough sense to actually think to myself and know, yeah, but it's same as anything, isn't it? It's part of the human brain, part of the human mind, where the human brain is wired, if you like, or programmed or functioned, if you like, whatever. The human brain is meant to adapt and absorb to anything that's thrown at it and get used to it, whatever it may be, in time. The human brain is meant to absorb and adapt and get used to anything that life throws at it and get used to it in time, whether if it's mentally or physical, whether if it's something pure physical. So what is very new and exciting and adrenaline pumped and fueled for you at first, right, it will only be a matter of time. However long that will be, I don't know, because how long is a piece of string? Well, we don't know, Nick. Every piece of string's different. Well, exactly. That's my point back to you. There we go. And that's my point back to me then. Right? It will only be a matter of time before your brain, because it's proven in science, you know, in science, in neurology, the cognitive function of the human brain, neurologically, as science would have it, it's proven that physical or mental, whether you like it or not, whether you want to get used to it or not, whatever it is, it's tough shit. Your brain will, whether you like it or not, give you no choice but to get used to something, whatever that something is that you've been at and used to for quite some time, whether if that's going to be weeks, months or years. You will eventually, through your own piece of string being your own length, you will eventually get used to it. Right? To the point where you will then get bored. Now, just let's break off there and freeze for a moment and slightly go off track. So I'm just going to put that point aside and pop it on pause for a bit, okay? And I'm just going to bring something else into play, then I'm going to merge the two together. So if you were to start off on a 125, do your CBT on a 125 motorcycle, right? So you were to get so used to that, yeah? You were to get so used to it, to the point where you come out your CBT, you pass your big full bike test, you know, whether if it's your A2 or your unrestricted full category A. I call it your full Monty. Not that you'd ride around like bollock naked, you'd probably get arrested and done, but you know, in fact you probably would be like the world's famous motorcycle vlogger riding around brown bollock naked doing a full Monty up in that Matlock strip on a June and July summer's weekend. Yeah, nice. Anyway yeah, anyway, then you go for a bigger bike. Let's say, for example, if you were to go for a 250, right, as soon as you get on that 250 compared to a 125, you are going to have so much pump fueled adrenaline, and you're going to be so super duper excited. And I guess what I'm going to say now, until you get used to that 250. So what you're going to do is then, from a 250 for example, then you're going to go up to like a 350, 400, and then you're going to be so pump fueled, you know, pump full of adrenaline, to the point where you're going to be so super duper excited, and whoa, until then you get used to that, and then you're going to go for a 600 until then you get used to that. And basically what I'm saying to you guys is you get the pattern, don't you? Right? You get my gist, yeah? You get the gist, you get my pattern, okay? To the point where then you even end up, only if you've got enough money to, only if you have, even get, you know, a petrol, so still a petrol one, but the most, let's say if you're a multi-millionaire, whatever, fastest petrol motorcycle in the world, I don't know, you go for a like one of these Kawasaki Ninja H2s turbos, 2 point summit plus, like 2000 summit plus, 2 point summit engine cc size, yeah? Okay, lovely, that's all well and good. Okay, until then, to the point you are absolutely bored of the whole performance and the power. You've basically gone as high and as fast and as powerful and as big and as mighty and as rare and unique to do what handling as you can get. So then you go, God, I'm right bored now, this is shit, now what? Right? In other words, I've shagged all girls in the world, I've done everything to them that you can imagine. I've been a right dirty, filthy bastard. I think I might just turn gay now and try to stick my knob up some fucking bloke's arse and get shit on the end of my knob. Right? Same principle, kind of an effect. Anyway. So, now, for those people who might be saying back to me, so there you go then, Nick, so you're saying people will get bored of the power, of the throttle power, not so much bored but just used to it, not bored but just really used to it, like immune to it, to the point where you're not getting adrenaline anymore. You're not getting bored of it, but you're getting used to it, to the point where you're not getting adrenaline anymore. But at the end of the day, Nick, you've just had the same to do with petrol motorcycles, right? So if that's the point, if that's the case, then I may as well just get an electric motorcycle. Or I think you should get one, Nick. I think if the end means is going to be the bang same for a petrol motorcycle as what it is going to be for an electric motorcycle, if that end, you know what I mean, if that end means is going to be the same, then basically you've just shot yourself in the foot by slating all these electric motorcycles but really bigging up all petrol ones and sticking with petrol. Well, no, I haven't, because here we go. Because it's not a contradiction. Let's say if you get so used to a petrol motorcycle, right, to the point where you're bored of its power and performance, right? But what can you do as a substitute to fill that void? To fill that void of being immune to and used to, and almost in a way not depressed but just a bit fed up to do with power and performance of a petrol motorcycle. You can start flipping pages, turning pages over on that catalogue brochure, right? And you can start buying parts for it to customise it. You know, you name it, right? You can start going through catalogues and buying all sorts of different parts for it, to the point where you can always jazz it up by improving it or customising it for different or improper, right? And therefore you're never going to really so much get that fed up and bored with it, because you're always forever changing it and tweaking it, upgrading it, customising it, you name it, right? By putting this on it, that on it, whether if it'll be like you know, like a front headlight, a different front headlamp, different wing mirrors, different front and back indicators, a different sounding horn, you name it, anything, you name it. Motor point, number one, exhaust, a different nice lovely sounding exhaust, and you can keep on swapping and mingling and experimenting with stuff and parts and stuff like that, can't you? You know, once you're bored with an electric motorcycle, well, not so much bored, but you know, just like immune to it, used to it, then what really is there for you to do in terms of customising? and or upgrading, you know, like taking off and replacing and changing ports, whatever ports that may be. So what option really in terms of that is there really for you for an electric motorcycle compared to your petrol motorcycles? Exactly. Do you see my point? That's my point. I rest my case. Right, so guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end it there. Okay. Remember, if you are riding, ride safe. Watch out for them other idiots out there on road. You've been with me, the Autistic Biker. It has been a pleasure, and until next one, I'll see you there. See you later. Ta-ra, bye bye.